Good day everyone, welcome to our new section. We'll be talking about CSS fundamentals. What do you understand by CSS? CSS is the styling and is the styling we give to our we give to our HTML tags. Is the styling we give to our HTML tags. And in our CSS, we have syntax, what we call syntax, just like we have it on our HTML. Then before that, I want us to download an extension. The extension is called what? Go Live. What is the usefulness or application of the Go Live? Go Live will help us automatically. Whenever we click on it, we don't need to start doing Ctrl X anytime we want to view our any changes on the website. The only thing we just have to do is click on Click on Go Live, and every other changes you are making to your HTML file, it will be taking effect immediately. So that's the work of Go Live. Now let's start. So now our CSS is called cascading style sheet. And I said what? It is the language that help us give styling to our HTML tags. It is a language that help us give styling to our HTML tags. Now, what do you want to do? Before we can have access to this, I will be explaining different type of CSS that we have. We have three type of CSS. We have the inline CSS, we have the internal CSS, and we have the external CSS. I will come again. We have what? Inline CSS, we have what? External CSS, and we have what? We have inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. For now, we will be starting with what? We will be starting with inline CSS. If we are talking about inline CSS, what is inline CSS? Inline CSS is a type of CSS which we style within our tag, just like our inline element. Hope you guys are getting it now. Inline elements. I said inline elements are elements that only contains the line or the width of their content. Likewise, what our inline CSS does. Inline CSS is a type of CSS that you write within the line of within the opening tag of the tag you are working with. That's inline CSS. Okay, let's do some examples. Now we want to style this let's go to our index.html, the first one we did. Then I want to style this hello world from h1 to h6. Then within this place, I will do what? I will do inline CSS. I will comment. Okay, I will do inline CSS. Then it can't work like that. Then let me make it come down. Inline CSS. Then I want to do what? I want to style this inline CSS using inline CSS. And I said anything that you are putting within your tags, they are called what? They are called attributes. Then if we want to access our inline CSS, we access our inline CSS with the with the style attributes. Then I'll do what? Style attributes. Then I want to give it a background color. Then I'll do what? Background color. Then I will give it blue. I'm giving this blue. Then inline CSS also, I will give it style. Now okay, I want to give it a background color also. I will give it aqua. Then inline CSS style, I will give it what? Display. No, background color, I will give it green. style attributes, background color, I will give it brown. Style attributes, background color, I will give it, let's find any other color, I will give it orange. Then style attributes, background color, I will give it what? I will give it, let's give it orange red. Okay, let's stop this and let's go live. Hope you guys can see it already. I'm having my color, I'm having my background, I'm giving it a background color, and this is what I mean by block element. Block element is taking the full width of what? Of the content you are using, or of the tag you are using. It's taking the full width of the element you are using. That's block element. So now we also have some types of inline elements. So by the time you start giving background color to every element we are calling, you will start seeing the difference. Now let's style this also, our p tag, which is the paragraph tag. Let's give it style. Then I will give it background color of red. Then automatically it should take effects. It's taking effects. So that's the work of go live without refreshing. So now let's style our image tag. Let's style our image tag also. Let's give it style attributes. Okay, before our image tag, rather, let's style our anchor tag, and we will be saying the difference between block element and inline element. Now here I will do what? I will call my style attributes. Then I will give it a background color. Let's give it blue. Can you see? It's only the color, the background color is not taking full width. The reason is because anchor tags are what? Inline elements. They only take what? The width of the content, the width of the content you are giving to them. Unlike our unlike our heading tags. Heading tags are taking what? Full width. And we also have examples of tags like that. Our div is a block element. Our input tag is an inline element. Our heading tags, our p tags, they are block elements. We also have some kind of inline elements. We have span, we have anchor tags, we have a lot. They are what? They are inline elements. As time goes on, you'll be seeing more of them. So let's style our color also, our image rather. Let's say style background color, I'll give it the next. Okay, it's not taking effect because this already it is taking the default size. Then as it being we put it in a div, then we are trying to change it, it will take effect. But now let's do some kind of styling. Let's do some other styling. Let's change the font, the size. Then let's do width of, let's say 20 px. Can you see? It has become smaller. So that's the work of CSS. You can manipulate your CSS the way you like. And also, you know, I said you can make your h6 to be big as your h1, and you can make your h1 to be small as your to be as smaller as what? Your h6. And likewise your p tag, you can make your p tags to be h1. The only way you can do it is by what? CSS. By doing what? CSS. And also I also saw something about our listing tags. I said you can make your UL to be what? To become OL, and your OL to become UL. Then let's try it. Here now, I will call my what? Style attribute. Then I will give it background color. I will give it red. Okay, it is having red. Then now we have something called list type, and we have a lot. To change this, I will just do what? List style type, list type. Then I will do what? I will do, is it decimal? No. Let's put disk. Then let's see what we'll be having. Can you see? Automatically it has changed to what? Unordered list. Then let's change our UL also to what? Ordered list. Then I'll do what? Style attribute. Okay, I won't be doing this also in this video. Automatically I'm giving this out as a task also. You should be able to do it yourself. This is also a task. You should be able to do it yourself. Then moving on, let's move to our about elements. We'll be moving to SOAIR. Now SOAIR navigation bar. The next thing we want to do is I want to arrange this logo. I want to make everything to be in an order, like let's say like a professional, the way it looks like on a website. We want to make it look like that. Then how do we do it? Then that will make me to that will take me to, I've explained inline CSS. That will lead me to what? Internal CSS. Internal CSS. Internal CSS is a type of CSS we use within our HTML elements, within our HTML files. Is a type of CSS we use within our HTML file or our HTML document using style tag. Using what? Style tag. The first one, inline CSS, is using what? Style attribute. Why internal CSS is using what? Style tag. They are two different things entirely. Inline is using what? Style attribute. Why internal is using what? Style tag. It is using style tag. And how do you do it? This CSS, it is written before what? You can put it within your head like this, within your head tag like this. It is appropriate. If I don't want to do it like that, I can also do it like this, within the closing tag of the within the closing tag of the head and the opening tag of the body. I will just do it like this. Style tag. Style tag. So this will now lead me to what we call selector. Selector. This will lead us to what we call selector. In CSS, selectors are used to target and style specific element tags, HTML elements or HTML tags. They are used to target some specific what? Some specific HTML elements or HTML tags. And we have different type of selectors. We have basic selectors, which are the major ones you'll be using. We have the universal selector. The universal selector is denoted by this. This is our universal selector, and it has a syntax of what? Syntax of curly brace. This is a universal selector. Okay, what do we call syntax? This is the syntax already for our what, either you are working with internal CSS or external CSS. This is the syntax you are following. This is a universal selector. Let's say you are using what? You are using element selector. Which type of elements we have here? We have what? Let's say we have h1. I want to style my h1. Then I will do what? h1. Then this syntax. It is very important. This curly brace is very important. That's the syntax. This element selector. This is called universal selector. Universal selector. And we have element selector. So what is universal selector? Universal selector targets all elements on the page you are working with. Universal selector targets all the elements you are working with within that element page, within that document or your HTML. It targets all the elements on that page. Okay, let's say for instance now I want to do something. Then I want to do what? I'm not styling my h1 yet. I want to style universal selector. Then I want to do what? I want to do color. Then I want to make the color should be blue. What color is doing is color is changing the font of what? Of our text. Then I will refresh. Ctrl X. Okay, can you see it? Automatically it has changed the color of all the elements we are having within our what? Within our HTML document. I can just come here again and do what? I will change the font size. I can, okay, let me not change the font size. Let me give background color. Let's use background color. I can give all of them red. Okay, let's see. Ctrl X. Can you see? Everything is taking background color of red. Both the body, the HTML, the header, the head tag, everything. It is affecting automatically selecting all the elements I'm having within this document. It is selecting all the elements I'm having within this document. So that's what? That's universal selector. And we have element selector. Element selector is selecting what? It's selecting elements by their element name. Let's cancel out this. Okay, let's comment it out. Element selector is selecting what? It's selecting elements in the document by their element name. It's targeting elements either in their tag name or by their tag names. It's targeting elements by their tag name. Now we have h1 here. How many h1 do we have here? We are having just a single h1. Then let's do something. Let's do background color for our h1 to be aqua. Ctrl X. Can you see? Okay, we are having more than one h1. This is one h1 here. Hello, welcome to SOAIR. Okay, we also have another h1 here. One h1 here. Let's make it come up. So automatically that's 2 h1. So what element selector is doing is element selector will select all the whole h1 elements we are having within that document and give them the styling you want to give to them. Then let's change their color, their normal color to white. Color to white. Can you see it? The color has changed to white. So it is targeting what? The two H1 elements we are having. So that's what? Element selector. And we have another one, class selector. What does class selectors do? Class selector targets elements with a specific class attribute. It is targeting what? Particular elements or tags with a class attribute. Let's say for instance now, we are having more than one H1 in this document here. This H1 here, we are having one H1 and we are having what? Another H1 here also. But what I want to do is I only want this styling that I'm giving here to go for this first H1 and not the second one. I want to give this second one a different background color and a different color. How do I do it? Then I will have to call to this place. You know what do we call it? Tag class selector target element with a specific class attribute. Then I have to come to this place, call my class attribute. Then within my class attribute, I can just give it what? Let's give it A, or let's do H1A. Okay, H1A. We are giving it H1A. Then let me comment out this. Then let's go within our style tag. And one thing is, if you want to access your class selector, if you want to access the class selector, you access your class selector with what? With dot. With what? Dot. You know, this element selector now, we didn't access it with anything. We only access it with what? Element selector by their element name in our style tag. And also this universal selector, you only access it with what? Hashtag. Asterisk, which is the multiplication sign we usually use on our system. Now we want to access our what? We want to access our class element within our what? Within our style tag. If I should just come to this place and do H1 then A and do this, automatically any styling I'm giving to it is not taking effect. Background color, let's give it red and let's give it color white and let's do Ctrl X. It's not taking effect. Why is we are not accessing the class yet? Automatically, if I should just come to this place and create any element with this H1A, can you see? Let's create an element with H1A 1A. Then let's put hello. Let's do Ctrl X. It will be showing. That's automatically this one here has turned to what? It has turned to an element selector. It has turned to what? Element selector. But we are not using this. We want to access our class name. And if you want to access your class name, you have to put dot before calling this class name. So now let's save this and let's see it. Can you see automatically it is taking effect? So that's how elements class selectors work. Now there's another one, ID selector. ID selector targets elements with a specific ID attribute. It's just like a vice versa to our class selector. Now let's make use of this second H1. Then I'll also give it an ID of H1A. ID of H1 then A. Then let's come to our style tag. Can you see everything I'm creating is within my style tag? I didn't come outside this style to come and style anything. It won't take effect. Do you guys understand me? It won't take effect. Now if you want to access your ID attribute, you access your ID attribute with what? Hashtag this hashtag then H1 then A. Then you do this, don't forget your curly brace. Then let's give it background color orange red. Then let's give it color green. Then let's save it, Ctrl X. Can you see it? Automatically it is taking effect. Automatically it is taking effect. So that's that about our CSS syntax and selectors. We also have other types of selectors, but as time goes on, if we are doing more practical work, I'll be explaining the other type of selectors. Like we have the combinators like descendant selector, we have child selector, we have adjacent sleeping selectors, we have general sleeping selectors. We have a lot of selectors. We have pseudo class selectors, pseudo element selector, attribute selector, and a lot of selectors. We still have a lot of selectors to work on, but as time goes on, we'll be touching them one after the other. So we'll be moving on to what we have properties of. We have different type of. Okay, we've not talked about our external CSS. Now, external CSS is a type of CSS we write in an external file. Yes, it's a type of CSS we write in an external file of our what of within our we are still creating the folder. We are still creating the file within the folder we are working with. Now let's create an external CSS. Then I will come to this place within my web development folder, click on new file. Then I'll do what style dot what. Don't forget we want to create a CSS file. Then it will be what dot CSS. How do I know that it is already created? This hashtag here is denoting that it is the CSS file. So our CSS selector is still working. Our external CSS is still working the same way our internal CSS is working. The only difference is that external CSS, we are only creating an external file, but the same syntax, the same format. Okay, for us to know that the same syntax, the same format, let's copy this. Everything we're having here, let's copy it, Ctrl C. Then let's paste it here, Ctrl V. Okay, let's comment out this. Comment. Okay, now we want to let's do Ctrl X. Automatically it has gone back to the default color and default styling it is having. Now how do we call this CSS into our HTML file? It is very what? It is very simple. Just have to do what? Come within this head here, within this head tag after your title, go to the next line, call link tag, and we have a lot of link tag. What the link tag? We have link atom, CSS, favicon, import. We will be working with most of these link, especially favicon and import. Now let's touch. We want to import. We want to link our what? We want to link our CSS. Then I'll be making use of this particular link of CSS. Then I will change this href to the CSS name I'm having here. Don't forget, this CSS name I'm having here is what? Style.css. I'm having this as capital letter S, and it must be the same way I name it. I'm calling it within my what? Within my href attributes, or else I won't be getting what I'm supposed to get. Okay, let's say for instance I'm using small letter S as style. Okay, dot. Then okay, for us to be able to navigate to where it is directly, I can just do what? ./, then automatically I'm seeing my style.css. I will click on it. Then let me just do Ctrl X. Then boom, it is taking effect the same way we're having them in our internal CSS. So that's the work of what? External CSS. That's how external CSS work. So in our next video, I'll be explaining more on properties of what? CSS. Properties of CSS. Then from properties of CSS, I've explained inline, internal and external CSS. Then that will be the end of our CSS, and by then it will be moving to more advanced